Hi everybody, I am Demon Bane, and welcome to the vlog. Today I'm making something. This is actually the first time I'm doing it, and I'm kind of curious how it's going to be turning out. I'm going to be making a somewhat personalized toaster oven baked meatloaf, okay? But I'm trying to do it a little bit healthy, so instead of using beef or pork, I'll be using turkey, ground turkey for the base, okay? I've already chopped up some onions, and I have them covered in a bowl because onions make my eyes water, and I wanted to get that done so that y'all didn't see me crying, because that ain't fun. Also, right now, I put a couple of pieces of bread in the toaster oven to dry them out for breadcrumbs, okay? I didn't buy breadcrumbs because, you know, that's cheating. So what I'm going to do is now, while that's toasting and getting all crispy so I can crunch it up into the thing, I'm going to be putting one egg and then the pound of meat into the bowl with the onions, and then I'm going to start to mix it up. And when the bread gets a little bit more toasty, I'm going to crush it up and put it in the bowl as well, okay? Then, when that's all done, I'm going to try to shape it, put it in the thing, cook it about halfway, and then I'm going to brush it, pour over some barbecue sauce over the top of it, and hope it turns out right. I've never done this before. This is my first time doing it, and it kind of came to me on like a whim as one of the things I just wanted to try to do. So this is how I figure out all of my recipes, really, is I kind of just jump at it and give it a try and see what happens. So here goes. Wish me luck. Considering it's only going to be 1 pound of ground turkey, I'm only going to be using 1 egg. The 2 pieces of bread, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be a little bit overkill, but I don't know. I got to keep flipping the bread because I don't want it to burn. I just kind of want it really dried out. I meant to take it out last night, take the 2 pieces of bread out and put them on a plate, just kind of over onto the other section and just kind of let it grow stale overnight, because that was the original way to make breadcrumbs, is you would take the bread out and you would just set it out and let it grow stale overnight, and then you would chop it up and crush it and use that as breadcrumbs. For seasoning, I have salt and pepper as per normal, but I'm also going to be using something a little bit in addition to that, okay? Sorry about my appearance. This is just kind of like a junk shirt in case I make a mess somewhere. I also have my favorite garlic salt. Usually I use Lowry's, but Walmart didn't have any when I went there last, so oh well. One of the things that you'll notice is that I don't really use expensive ingredients. Probably the most expensive thing in this whole get-up is the ground turkey, and that's from Aldi. I'm going to have to switch out bowls, because the bowl I'm using is not big enough. So this is actually my rice bowl for my rice cooker, which is fine, because that's what it's going to get used for this time. I'm going to take these pieces of bread that I've started, toasted here, and we're just going to just rip it up. And as this bakes, you just want to try to rip it up as much as possible. I'm just doing this with my hands, but if you want, you can always use a knife and chop it up. But seeing as how my hands are already not dirty, but I've already been mixing it a little bit to try to get it started. Doesn't really matter. Now, turkey is a very, very bland meat, so you have to make sure that you flavor it really well. Okay. The ground turkey mix for the meatloaf is a little bit, it's not very stiff. It's very, I don't think it's going to shape really well. So what I'm going to do is, to make up for that, I kind of anticipated this happening a little bit, is I'm going to make a a meatloaf pan, for lack of better words. Usually when you're making meatloaf, you can put it in a bread pan and does a similar thing. Now, I don't own one. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to improvise, which is one of the things I do best. Say hello to my little friend. Now, it's quite a bit of meatloaf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice big sheet. And I'm just going to start, I'm going to put this somewhere safe. Just slide it over there. Oh, this over here. This here. Take my tin foil, and as you see, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start crimping the edges and like standing them up a bit. What we're going to try to do is make the thing so that it's stiff. So what we're going to do is take stuff like this. Now, I'm going to take this like this, and this like this. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Keep in mind, you're only really going to be using this once. And the cool thing about tinfoil is that it'll pretty much hold whatever shape you put to it, for the most part. Here we go. Okay. Just kind of shape it up to kind of get the idea of the shape you want. And you see, I have made a makeshift meatloaf pan. Okay? It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. It's only really going to be used once, and all it really has to do is hold the shape of the meatloaf while it cooks. Okay? So now, we're going to take our meatloaf mix, and we're going to go ahead and scoop it into the pan. And I sure hope that this pan is big enough. I think it'll be alright. Yeah, it should be fine. Just wash my hands again, so I kind of don't want to touch the meatloaf again. I'm probably going to need to, but if I can avoid it, I'm going to try. Just going to kind of now we've got all the meatloaf in the thing. Now what I'm going to try to do now is kind of just shape it a bit. Okay. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get it so that it's somewhat uniform. So again, the ingredients in here are 2 pieces of bread that have been toasted to the point to make breadcrumbs, half of an onion, a pound of ground turkey, and 1 egg. Okay? And This is about 7 or 8 inches long. Now, how I'm going to cook it is I'm going to cook it in the toaster oven, which is what I cook all of my, you know, bigger meals in. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this pan, which is just a standard cooking sheet pan that comes with any toaster oven, just to kind of catch any spill off. And then I'm going to take my meatloaf and put it in that pan to catch any grease runoff. If I can do it without breaking my neck. Alright, now I have my oven set to 350 degrees in bake. Okay. So 350 degrees in bake, and I have it on, I just have it on straight on, and I'm just kind of going to let this do its thing. So we're just going to let that bake, and hopefully it will come out good. And I will see you when we get to the next step. So in the meantime, alright, so I've run into a little bit of an issue as I've been cooking it here. The top is getting kind of crispy, but it's not cooking all the way through. So one of the things I did is I used this knife here, which is kind of like my my work knife, to cut some holes in the bottom of the tinfoil to let some of the grease and fat flow out. Hopefully that should alleviate some of the issues, so that it's not as firm. Anyway, I'm going to use a first spoon, so when I put the barbecue sauce on, I can spread it with the back of the spoon. Like I said, I've never done this before. This is kind of just going with the flow here. You know, trying to figure out what's a good idea, what's not. I'm pretty much acting on culinary instinct. I didn't put a lot of barbecue sauce on. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of a flavor. I'm wondering if maybe if I had the heat up too high. I'm going to turn it down to 250 just to keep it going. Alright, and I will give you a heads up with the next update. Alright, so this is it all complete. I am working on taking it out of the aluminum foil. It looks really, really good. I've let it cool off some to try to hope that it firms up quite a bit. Haha! Now that, my dear friends, looks like a meatloaf, doesn't it, guys? Yay! It all worked. That was incredible. This is the first time I've done that, and it actually turned out pretty decent. It's got a nice crust on the top, which, as we all know, is the best part of any meatloaf. So I'm going to get my knife, which I have washed. And this is the moment of truth, guys. Probably my biggest worry is that it didn't cook all the way through in the center. So I am going to cut it in the center. And is it cooked? It is! It's cooked in the center. And it worked. That's awesome. Alright, guys. So this is my very first attempt at making meatloaf in a toaster oven, and it turned out great. and it actually tastes pretty good too. I can't wait to dig in. I'm probably going to split this into 2 meals. So thank you guys for all hanging around and hanging with me, and as my first attempt of making meatloaf in a toaster oven, and it turned out great. Making it in an oven itself would probably be a lot easier, but I don't have an oven, so I'm making do with what I got. The only difficulty I found in cooking it in a toaster oven is that my toaster oven is relatively small, so the top of the meatloaf was really close to the heating element on the top, so it got kind of crispy. But when you coat it with the barbecue sauce, it all turns out okay. It's just the crust is just a little bit thicker than normal, which is fine. It still looks good and it still tastes awesome. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.